Here, take a look at this. Here, take a look at this. Hrogar's house? It burned down not too long ago. It's a real pity about his wife and kid. The screams woke half the town. Most folk won't go near it now for fear it's cursed. Hrogar claims it was a hearth fire. Some folks say Hrogar started it himself. That's what they say. See, he's living with Alva now. That started the day after the fire. It ain't right moving in with a new love the day after your kin die like that. Aye. Our Jarl would sure like to know if he did, though. Might even pay to find out. Lurbach? Fancies himself a bard. He pays, so I let him stay. If I had any customers, I'd be worried about him annoying them. But, well, look around. Until next time.
What you want, stranger? I have a date with the marsh, and the chorus that calls it home. And I am honored to meet one so fragile as to think squashing bugs requires bravery. And the politeness continues. Perhaps I am speaking with a noble. My apologies, my lord. Ha ha ha. Don't worry, traveler. I meant no offense. There are simply so many bandits here in Skyrim, and such few persons of character. As for my name, my clan once knew me as Anumla, but fighting folk call me the Swamp Knight. As opposed to going backwards? I haven't thought about it, but your company makes me long for the old days. In truth, I only came to Skyrim to rid myself of that urchin. Now that I'm here, maybe I'll adventure for a bit. Or maybe I'll forge a new legend, right here in this adorable little puddle the Nords call a marsh. Well, it's the short story. I carry a sword. I'm from the swamp of Black Marsh. Do you need me to continue, or can you piece it together from here? You're a clever one. Saw right through my glib response. All right, I'll tell you. But it's a long story. So you might want to sit down for this one. I was hatched in a small tribal village, lost in the swamps between Thorn and Hellstrom. In other words, in the middle of nowhere. As the hatchling of a small and pitiful clan, I couldn't afford to travel to the city and train under the guidance of the tribal guard. Right you are, but few boats stopped by my village. There were visitors. In fact, every few years, a recruiter from the city would come to the village and conscript those in the clan who showed promise. Only a handful of hatchlings were chosen. All of them were males. Males I bested in combat 100 times over. I figured the only way I'd be a soldier was to train on my own. So, one night, I went out into the deepest swamps with nothing but a hist branch. I committed myself to killing a feather serpent. On the second night, I thought I'd vanquish 3. By the first hour, my only goal was to survive. Somehow, I managed. I labored through the bog and hid inside a hollowed-out tree. I waited and watched for predators. And as I watched, I learned. I saw how the serpent camouflaged itself in the foliage, how the Leviathan waded effortlessly through the swamp, simply by refusing all effort. I saw how on bright days, the lizard used the Hackwing's own shadow to scuttle around unseen, and how on dark days, all creatures clung to the mist. By the time I was grown, I could slay 5 feathered serpents with a single slash and do it with my eyes closed. True enough, the name came when I joined a company of fighters, many of whom were celebrated warriors from all over Tamriel. There were members who served as honor guards for tribal chieftains, and those who trained under guild masters and various regiments of the Empire. There were even retired assassins from the renowned Shadow Scales of legend, but none knew of who I was, or why I was recruited to join the company. The truth was, I was never supposed to be there. I had found the invitation on a courier while traveling west toward Gideon. Undaunted, I told them the story of how I trained to become a knight. I used that exact word. In truth, I'd only heard the word knight in passing. But when travelers from strange lands used the term, their words spoke with a tone heavy with reverence. That's how I wanted them to speak about me. Naturally, the company laughed uproariously at my expense. They dubbed me the Swamp Knight, and I've been that ever since. Oh, they did. But Dalum A assured them I was on the up and up. He was our leader and the one who assembled the crew. I never asked him why. Maybe he was just curious. Maybe he ascribed it to fate. Maybe he thought he could make a wife out of me. That poor fool never had a chance. That's an old story. Back when the Hrothgar monks had milk in their beards from sucking their mother's teats. Okay, maybe not that old, but old. I was traveling in Black Marsh with a company of fighters. We fashioned ourselves the Honorable Eight. We were an elite band of fighters, hired to do jobs common sellswords weren't equipped for. At first, I thought the honorable part was a joke. Our company was made up of liars, drunkards, and lying drunkards. But they were all loyal. And they were all honorable. They were good beasts, mare and men. Ha 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 ha! But they have beards, gray ones even. That makes them wise. Maybe if our company had more whiskers, we would never have made that horrible mistake. We were, and we did. The job was simple. Clear out a cave of necromancers that were terrorizing one of the clans that resided near the border. The clan said a hatchling had gone missing, and rumors were abound of corpses stolen for experiments, and live bodies turned into corpses. When we got there, the shadow scale Ulaway scouted ahead as the rest of us waited near the entrance. He found bear traps and tripwires. The occupants were further in, he said, black-robed mages, chanting. The whole thing stunk like a Thalmor's wet diaper. Traps or no, bandits usually post sentries in and outside the cave. The Nord, Arnwulf, though, he got tired of all the standing around. Black robes and ominous words, good enough for him. Dalum A gave the nod. Couldn't chance it. Some poor hatchling could have been on a table, about to become some sick bastard's war puppet. Sadly, no. The child was on the table, like Ulaway said, but she was already dead. The people around her were mourners. Black robes. They were refugees from Cyrodiil, Altmer, Khajiit, and Argonian, driven from Leaween. To the clans, they might as well have been wraiths. I don't know who struck first. It didn't matter. We killed them all. Well, all except one. It was an Imperial boy, hiding in a small crevice in the rock. I didn't know who he was, or if he was even with the refugees. The boy was a mute. Part of me thought it would be better to slay him, but another part of me saw the hatchling in the swamp, just trying to survive till morning. The company disbanded. Honor brought us together, and dishonor drove us apart. Me and the healer, Elia, went north. The boy, he followed. We split up in Bravo. Don't know why he chose me. Seems to me he was better off with a Breton. But as I kept going north, he never left my side. Ha! I don't think Elia would have wanted him around either. Males grow squeamish at the mere talk of children, let alone the sight of one. I kept going north, figuring at some point the boy would stop following me. Gotta give it to the little runt. He had courage. Eventually, I realized I could have walked right into the sea of ghosts, and the little Histcarp would have dove right in. I was halfway through the marsh when I decided to head back to Morthal. I turned to the pesky urchin and told him, "All right, you win." Imagine my surprise when I found myself talking to a patch of death bells. Ha 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 ha! There was no one there. Some may ask why I'm a knight without armor. Others contend I wear the mourner's clothes to honor the brave warriors I slay. Those in my company will tell you I wear it to mourn the refugees who died that day, and all the innocents who die in the pangs of war. I will tell you that there's only one thing in this world I truly mourn. My sanity! Ha ha!